back. Today I just wanted to make a little video showcasing something from the collection. I don't have a very big collection or a very big stash, but this is something unique I've never seen another one of. And when I saw how much it was, I just had to have it. So this is a model of the Yak-3 fighter plane. And this was made by a company called Krugozor in the Soviet Union, back when it was the Soviet Union. This is from the mid-70s, I'd say, and we're just going to go through it and show you what kits were like on the other side of the Iron Curtain. So, obviously the box, it's very, very plain. You have to tell what it is. It's a Yak-3. It's got a, looks like a pencil illustration, or maybe a very, very bad quality photograph of the model. Look at this star. It is completely lopsided. But this box, it's made out of this recycled paper. You can see it's falling apart. But it was cheaper to make that way, and the paper could be recycled. And, you know, when the elites need more money, they'll do anything in their power to make sure that everyone else gets something cheap. But besides that, here's what we got in the box. First of all, I'm sure grazing your attention is this vial. Now, this glass vial is empty, but it did contain cement to put this model together. But it has evaporated. But that's part of the kit. It came with the kit. And I think that's really, really neat. So, there's a glass vial for the cement. Yeah. And here we see the kit. Comes in a plastic bag. Let me just show you this bag. It's got illustrations of toys on it. Now, a little bit about plastic models, or models in general in the Soviet Union. The plastic ones were considered toys, more or less. I mean, you could argue that back 50 or 60 years ago that models in general were considered toys, but especially in the Soviet Union, the plastic models were considered toys. They weren't called models. They were just toys. If you were talking about a model, you were more than likely talking about a solid wood model or a stick and tissue model with an electric or gas motor or something along those lines. But these were strictly toys, and Krugozor was the largest toy manufacturer at the time. It was a conglomerate, I think, if memory serves me correctly, from a bunch of different toy companies, and they were headquartered in Moscow. So, but yeah, there's toys on the bag. This is a very thick bag too. It's just, the box is so cheap, but the bag is really, I don't want to say quality, but it's really thick. We'll go ahead and get the parts out very gingerly because it's kind of a rare kit. But no sprues in this, or at least I don't have any sprues. I'll get the parts out and we'll give you a rundown of what this kit is like. Let's get the last couple out and just dump them out here. So here we see the parts to the kit. It's a very simple kit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces to the entire model. It's got one option, wheels up. That's the only option you can choose, and really, you can see there's no really sort of quality. This is giant flash, and I'm not going to take it off because it's 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's part of the kit. This kit will never be built. But molded in exhausts. Oh, molded in exhausts right here. This is really scratched, and that's probably from being in the bag, just rattling around for 50 years. I don't know if you can see it, but there are molded on insignias right there and on the tail. Raised rivets, raised panel lines, but it could be a competent model, honestly. If you really wanted to try and make it a competent model, it pretty much looked like a Yak 3 fighter plane. You know, second verse, just like the first one. Exactly the same, molded on insignia. And the wings are in halves, molded on insignia again. No locating pins, just a flat piece of plastic, really scratched. Here's the propeller. A bunch of cleanup to do on there, but it looks like a propeller. It does its job. That's the whole story of this kit. Good enough. Here's a horizontal stabilizer. I'll flip it over. Yep. This is your propeller backing plate. This is the only piece that comes on sprue. And your oil cooler intake. Lots of flash on there. Come on, camera. You can do it. There we go. But like I said, that's the story of this kit. It's good enough. Now here's the stand. Well, here's the stand. It's green. I'm not going to take the paper off because what happened was, you can see, it's banana shaped. All this glue right here seeped out and fused this paper to this stand. You can see it's shiny. So this paper is stuck on here. But you get a stand and it's green. You plug the top into there and you glue it to the underside of the airplane. There's no sort of, slot. Well, there is. It's behind the wings. Yep. You just glue it on there. These are the decals or insignias. I don't know if they were decals. It's just cardstock. So you probably just cut it out and paste it or tape it onto the airplane. Now, here's the instructions. Now, if you know anything about older model kits, you'll know that before pretty much the 1980s, model kits instructions were very word heavy and they were mostly about reading what to do. Whereas during the 1980s and on to today, they're pictographs. And that's mainly so they can sell them overseas in multiple markets and not have to translate the instructions. But this is from the 70s. Shows all the parts, all 15 parts. It's got a parts list in Russian, of course. Yak 3, Yakovlev Yak 3. And there is a story about the airplane, specifications, and your building, your construction steps. All in Cyrillic. I can't read it, of course, but if you wanted to, screenshot that right there. I'll back it out so you can get the whole thing. Screenshot that right there. Go to Google Translate. The app works for this, and select highlight text, and it'll translate it, and it'll put it on that page for you so you can read what that says. But that's the old Krugozor Yak 3 from the Soviet Union. And I think this is 1 to 50 scale. It's an off scale, I know. It's box scale. But I didn't just want to show you this kit here. Really, I had this idea for 2 different videos, but I think the circumstances, it'd be best for one. So, obviously, this came from Soviet Union. But I noticed yesterday, or the day before, I'm not quite sure, model car videos, Matthew Inman, he did a haul video that he got from Hobby Nut Models, and in it he bought a Zvezda, it was Tupolev airliner, old Russian or old Soviet airliner from a Russian model company. We know Zvezda, and obviously, that's not bad mouthing him, not at all. I just thought experiment here. Obviously, we know that Zvezda is a Russian company, and with the tariffs and everything going on against Russia and the combat in Ukraine, I'm wondering if we should be buying Russian model kits. Now, I know if you're buying it from a second party or a third party, then you're no longer, funneling the Russian economy. But I've seen some people on the internet crying to, boycott Zvezda and Russian manufacturers because of what their government has done. And I'm wondering if that's right. So I'm going to pull up something on the computer and show you, and let's have a discussion about this, shall we? I'll be right back. Alright, so I did a little digging around because this really interested me. And as we were talking about, should we be buying kits that were made in Russia? Or kits of Russian subjects? I mean, and that's really a subjective thing, really, but I just kind of want to investigate this. So this is a online forum, and a commenter on here asked if we should be boycotting Russian kits, and sorry about that. There's some back and forth, none of it really, mean or misleading, but I want to drive your attention to this comment right here. This man says, I think it would be perfectly proper to buy Russian kits from non-Russian sources that already have them in stock. Boycotting these dealers would not be hurting the Russians, but shooting the non-Russian hobby dealers in the foot. And that's the big thing here. Because you cannot buy, well, you can, but it would not be economical for you to buy directly from Zvezda. And here I have their website pulled up. So if we just go into model kits here, let's just go to helicopters. Why not? Let's just go right here. Submarine Hunter Helix. It gives you a rundown. But I've been on this website for about an hour, and there is absolutely no propaganda, nothing. You have your distributors. So I misspoke. You cannot buy directly from Zvezda. Their distributor is Stevens International. And you cannot buy directly from Stevens International either. You have to go through a third-party seller. So by the time it gets to that third-party seller, that kit has been bought and paid for twice. So if you are boycotting a Zvezda model, if I go to my hobby shop and there's a Zvezda model, I know there's one there, it's HMS Dreadnought. It's been there for about a year and no one's bought it. I mean, I probably know why. But them not buying that model, that's not hurting Zvezda. It's not hurting the Russians. That's hurting the old man who runs the hobby shop. But this website, here, if we go to the About page, not a single word about propaganda, except for maybe if you were really crazy, you could draw out propaganda out of this sentence right here. Our products teach people to take pride in our history, promote interest in military history of other countries, while also helping people appreciate the uniqueness and power of the products of Russia's modern military. I don't really see propaganda in that. I'm sorry I keep bumping the camera. But, yeah, there's no propaganda at all on this website, or anything propaganda has come from this company as far as I can tell. I mean, family-oriented board games. Yeah, not a single thing. No propaganda at all. But I am strictly, I don't have an opinion about it. I'm a very faith-based person, and I have to look at it from the middle of the aisle, because anymore, if you take one side or another, you're going to make half the people mad. So I just don't get into an opinion on stuff like this, but I just am curious. So here's Zvezda. I went on to Rodin. It's a Ukrainian manufacturer. I remember when this happened. This happened in April of 2022. Their box art, their main box art artist for Rodin was killed in a shelling, in an artillery bombardment. And they have his portrait here. And I remember when this happened. It's not on the website anymore, at least I can't find it. But they had a whole web page calling for model builders to pretty much avenge his death, I would say, would be the best way to put it. And it was very propaganda based, I would say. I might get backlash for saying that, but I really don't care enough to, I don't have an opinion, and I'm just not going to have an opinion. But that's Rodin. They make okay kits. Some of them are a little more difficult, but they have interesting subjects. Here's an early model Heinkel, a B model with not the glass greenhouse nose, but I heard this is a pretty tricky model, but it can be built. Any model can be built, honestly. They have interesting stuff. Here you go. Carver. How many times are you going to see one of these? But this is Rodin. ICM, probably the best known pro-Ukraine model manufacturer. I mean, they are Ukrainian, so I guess that's their right. But since it hit the fan, so to speak, they put out a bunch of these Ukrainian war-themed kits. They all have this Brave Ukraine stamp on the bottom. This one is actually really neat. I'd like to get this one, the MiG-29 with the HARM missiles. But again, I see the Ukrainian companies. Granted, they are the underdog and they are the invaded country, but I see them upplaying the propaganda much more than any of the Russian companies are. But that's not all. This is not a new thing at all, right? Here, look at here at Scalemates. This is a Messerschmitt kit from Cleveland Model. And this came out in 1944. It was tooled in 41, and this is a 44 release. So American manufacturers were making German stuff in the middle of the war. And I guess people bought them, I don't know. But are we really just getting too political in the model building? I mean, this is really a hobby that we use to de-stress, and are we just letting everything else that we try to get away from in our lives creep into our model building? And I want to know what you think about all of this. If you have an opposite opinion, I'd like to hear it. If you agree or want to add on, then I'd like to hear it. But that kit that Matthew bought just really got me thinking about this. And nothing against him. He can buy whatever kit he wants. I don't care. I mean, if I had known that Hobby Models had that kit, I probably would have bought it too, especially for $18. But just remember, if you go to the hobby shop or you buy from Sprue Brothers or an eBay seller, you're not hurting this company right here. You're not helping. Well, if you don't buy, I mean, you're not hurting. But if you don't buy, then you are hurting the third-party sellers. I know everybody'd like to be a hero, but I don't think you not buying your plastic model is gonna end the war in Ukraine. I don't think that's how that works, but who knows? In these crazy times, anything could happen. But what matters is we're prepared and we know where we're going. That's what matters. So with that, I'm going to end this video. I'd love to read all your input. If you have any questions or if you'd like to go deeper into this, sure, we can make a second video. I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers out there, but really, though, you didn't see anyone else with the propaganda. I mean, Revell didn't make any propaganda. AMT didn't make any propaganda. Really, that's the big ones for me. I mean, Tamiya has made it was redoing the Abrams in Ukrainian colors. They did the Leopard in Ukrainian colors, but I don't think that's propaganda. That's just, something they could sell. I mean, but yeah, go ahead and tell me what you think. This is a really neat model. I'd like to have this, Soviet airplane with American missiles. I mean, that's called teamwork, folks. But yeah, so thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being a subscriber if you are. If you aren't, that's all right. Love to read the comments, and yeah, we got something very special coming up. Well, special to me. It's kind of an experiment. But yeah, we'll have that coming up soon, and then when autumn rolls around, we'll start on their group build. Remember to get your stuff together for that group build if you're taking place, and yeah, we will see you again soon.